If you are serious about getting straight A stars in your A levels, this is how you are going to spend that summer between year 12 and year 13. If you have never seen my face before, my name is Tilly. I got 5 A stars in my A levels, and this is how I recommend you spend that summer to lay the foundations for success in year 13. I appreciate this is a daunting time in your life. Everything is uncertain. Everything is up in the air. Where will you be this time next year? Hopefully this video helps you make sense of things. If you haven't already, be sure to like and subscribe. I give you my top study tips and tricks for A levels and beyond in every one of my videos. Hello everybody, welcome back to my channel and welcome back to another advice video where I want to tell you what you should do over that summer between year 12 and year 13 in sixth form. I'm going to break this video down into different parts because there are a variety of things that you should be doing this summer. You need to think about your personal statement. You need to think about revision. You need to think about work experience. You need to think about university. There are so many things that you should be doing, so I am going to break it down into parts. First thing, we need to start thinking about universities. There is no point in starting to write your personal statement if you don't know what you are applying to. You need to apply for either the same course or similar courses at every university you apply to. You have 5 choices on UCAS. Of course, you can apply to courses abroad, but in the UK, if you apply through UCAS, you only get 5 university choices. And for these choices, you must write one personal statement. So you cannot apply to medicine at Newcastle, but then apply to economics at Cambridge. So before anything else, you need to figure out what it is that you want to apply to and make sure you are doing relevant super and extra curriculars for that. So top Russell Group universities really care about these things called super curriculars, which is basically anything that you can do outside of school or sixth form that demonstrates your passion for the subject you are applying to. So for example, a really big one is books. Reading books around your subject that are not necessarily relevant for the A-level specification. Another one can be listening to podcasts, watching documentaries, anything that helps explore your area of interest more deeply. It can be taking a short course, it can be watching a YouTube video even, it can be attending a debate, a lecture, anything at all. And people always freak out about this and think they haven't done prestigious enough supercurriculars. It's not about the prestige, it's about that. It's not about what you do, it's about what you explore. If you are interested in a very specific area of your subject and you can demonstrate that you have explored it, it doesn't matter if you haven't even read a book on it. As long as you have explored that area of interest and demonstrated your passion, you should get specific in your personal statement, and that is what we are going to be talking about next. Of course, you need to start thinking about writing your personal statement. It is due in October, I would say, is the hard deadline. It's not the hard deadline, but the majority of UCAS courses, it is January, but if you're applying to Oxbridge or you're applying to medicine, dentistry, veterinary science, it is October. And I would recommend having it done over this summer anyway, because you have time to make changes, you have time to do those supercurriculars. When you jump into year 13, if you're trying to do year 13 on top of starting a personal statement from scratch, you're going to get so overwhelmed. I have a whole other video about how you write the new personal statement on UCAS, so be sure to check my channel for that. The next thing I want to talk about is studying. You do not need to study all summer long, however, you can't just do nothing and get away with it. In year 12, inevitably, there will be areas that you found more difficult. A-levels are hard, but getting good grades can be easy if you know how to do it. Inevitably, there are things that are conceptually difficult. There are things that you find more difficult than other things. One of the biggest pieces of advice I give to students is to stay on top of their work. If there is anything at all they don't understand, I recommend them go and look it up then and there. Now, don't get me wrong, if you have been doing this, it doesn't mean you don't have to do anything over the summer. What it does mean is you should be working on those weakest areas, making revision resources for yourself for next year. You will be very, very thankful for it, trust me. Doing some sort of review so that you don't just go back to sixth form after 3 months of doing nothing but scrolling. Remember that your brain is designed to forget. You need to beat that forgetting curve and just review information frequently. I think that creating revision resources is the best way to do this over this summer. So that's when I was making my cheat sheets for A-level math. It's when I was making my posters for A-level economics that I stuck all around my room. I made Quizlet sets. I wasn't necessarily learning anything new, but I was getting more comfortable with the things that I had done in year 12, and that's what I recommend you do as well. Because this solid foundation of understanding of concepts you learn in year 12 is what you build on in year 13. If you don't understand anything in year 12, you are done for. You build on it in year 13. The knowledge stacks on top of each other, so if you don't understand this thing, you're certainly not going to understand this. I would also recommend getting to grips with how you are assessed. So, how are marks awarded in the exam? A good chunk of marks you can get even if you don't know the answer, if you know what the examiner is looking for. Obviously, you are aiming to know the answer, but you need to know how marks are broken down. How many AO1 marks? How many AO2? Do you have coursework for a subject? If you're doing an EPQ, how are marks awarded? I did my EPQ in year 13 and I got 4 marks because I knew exactly what they were looking for. And EPQ is a prime example of how important it is to understand how marks are broken down. It's not about the content of your EPQ that is important. It's about how you have displayed information. Have you shown that you've planned? Have you shown that you've used a variety of sources? Have you documented it well? It's not actually about what you present. It's about how you've planned it and prepared it. Get to grips with the mark scheme. Go and watch some YouTube videos about how you structure an essay in A-level economics, how marks are broken down, knowledge, application, analysis. Same for A-level history. Whatever A-level it is that you do, get to grips with that exam technique. Decide what you're going to do, even if it's A-level physics. Are you going to do those multiple choice questions first? Are you going to leave them till last? What is your exam technique? What works for you? Do you like doing hard questions first? Do you like doing them last? Figure it out over this summer. You want year 13 to be about understanding content, digesting it, and applying your knowledge to exam situations. You don't want that exam technique to be the thing that holds you back. You don't want to be running out of time. You don't want to have no idea where your marks are coming from. The last thing I want to talk about is work experience. You might not necessarily need to do it, but a lot of sixth forms do require that you do some sort of work experience. So just start looking it up. It doesn't have to be crazy. You don't have to work for 8 weeks. Maybe you reach out to a local business and go and work with them for a week. That's what I did. I also did some summer schools in year 12. You have to apply for those before summer though, so it's sort of like, I can't recommend you go and do a summer school because you had to apply for it 6 months ago. But if you do have to do work experience next year, maybe you're applying for medicine, start looking at placements. If you have to do work experience because your sixth form says to, go and reach out to businesses. Go and find any opportunities that you can over this summer, because trust me, you're going to get bored. It is a long summer. The last thing that you need to understand is that year 13 ramps up in difficulty. Please do not rot away your attention span this summer by just scrolling and doing nothing else, frying your dopamine receptors. Please just do something that's not social media, because if you do ruin your attention span this summer, studying next year is going to be difficult. This isn't fear-mongering, I'm just being honest. Year 13 is difficult. It's not too hard. You can do it if you study and you study right. You can't coast by though. It's going to be an intense year, but it's not impossible. Please don't be scared of it, because being scared of it will make you procrastinate and will make you waste time this summer. If you found this video helpful, be sure to like and subscribe, and hopefully I see you all in the next video.